different head than yours, but I like your handle.
I got three pieces here.
This just references into it.
In January, I brought in a couple of lidded boxes, and I told you at the time that I was kind of inspired by Stephen Kennard's little presentation that he gave us in, I think it was November. And I got really wrapped up in the idea of the lined boxes. And so I made some, and I brought them in last time, and these are different ones because they kind of look the same. I call them the ring boxes. They're you know, because I went on, you know, why am I making these things? And they're kind of neat in the sense that I found a YouTube where a fellow was showing how to just make lidded boxes, and he said, I make ring boxes, and he says when he goes into his shop, he takes his rings off and he puts them in a box. So I said, well, that's neat, because you can use that for men or women, you know, you can have a ring box. But anyways, back to the theme of the lined boxes. This one here, I also started to experiment with different woods and see what they look like, you know, how they work out. This one here, I'm not particularly happy with the look, but I was quite pleased with the way my finial turned out, because that was another YouTube I went to try and figure out how to make a good finial. Not an elaborate one, because you can make some nice ones, but some that were practical. So the trick is always to try and get it to blend into the top, and I thought I managed this one quite well. I was quite pleased with it. You really have to look hard to see the line. This one here I chose to use the walnut on the inside as well as the lid, and this is I'm not sure what this wood is. It's a piece of a chunk of a wood that I acquired from my father about 30 years ago. It's been kicking around, and I cut a chunk off it every once in a while. It might be cherry, but I'm not sure. This one here I use, and this is something that Stephen doesn't do, is that I like to try to get the same wood on the outside here at the top as on the inside. So what I do is I do my core, drill the whole thing out, and then I cut so that this piece of wood is actually this piece of wood out here. And on this particular piece I struggled with this one, because after I drilled my hole I realized that I was going to have to take a lot off the outside because I had a flat spot still on it. So I did manage to get a very thin outer core on that one, and the closer you get, the more you realize how out of round you might be a little bit, you know, like, so if you look hard at that, you can see it's a little thicker on that side than that side, and that it's hard to work with that. I found with all this sort of work that it's trying to get that, and each one you make is maybe a little bit better or whatever. The other thing I found I was having a trouble with is I could do that, and I would find that would be out of round. And that's sort of a problem with that kind of thing. So Stephen, as he gave us our demonstration, made it look so easy. But it does take work to get that. So anyways, that one worked out well in that respect for me. So I was pleased with that. And this one doesn't have a finial, but I've kind of made it as a ring box so that it's something that if an individual was using it, they could just use the top to put their items on it, as opposed to having to open the box and put it in. And this final one is the first one that I actually managed, I don't know how many I made, to actually get it to work. Because like if you see this one here, I made it different wood, but this one here, like the bottom, I went right through that because I didn't gauge my depths properly, and as well my drill bit on this one poked a hole through the bottom, so I had to actually, you know, go back and make a filler in that one. But I think that looks okay. But this was the one, and this is a cherry burl that I got from Stewart. when he provided, we were out at his pickup truck buying cherry pearls last fall, and I got one, and I found I've gotten a lot of use out of that burl, just for little pieces. So anyways, that's my thing. I've kind of, that was how I spent my dreary winter days in the shop this winter.
Just keep your.
Okay.
Keep your-